Hello everyone, welcome to Brilliant Public School online edu classes. Today we are going to learn chapter number 3 of class 9 social science, that is Nazism and the rise of Hitler part 3. In this part we are going to learn about the Nazi worldview, youth in Nazi Germany, the Nazi cult of motherhood and the art of propaganda. The crimes that Nazi committed were linked to a system of belief and a set of practices. Nazi ideology was synonymous with Hitler's worldview. According to this, there was no equality between people, but only a racial hierarchy. It can also be understood in two ways. First, that is racial hierarchy, and second is Lebensraum. In this view, blonde, blue-eyed Nordic German Aryans were at the top, while Jews were located at the lowest rung. They came to be regarded as an anti-race, the arch-enemies of the Aryans. All other colored people were placed in between, depending upon their external features. Hitler's racism borrowed from the thinkers like Charles Darwin and Herbert Spencer. Darwin was a natural scientist who tried to explain the creation of plants and animals through the concept of evolution and natural selection. Herbert Spencer later added the idea of survival of the fittest. According to this idea, only those species survived on Earth that could adapt themselves to the changing climatic condition. We should bear in mind that Darwin never advocated human intervention in what he thought was a purely natural process of selection. However, his ideas were used by racist thinkers and politicians to justify imperial rule over conquered people. The Nazi argument was simple: the strongest race would survive and the weak ones would perish. The Aryan race was the finest. It had to retain its purity, become stronger, and dominate the world. The other aspect of Hitler's ideology related to the geopolitical concept of Lebensraum, or living spaces. He believed that new territories had to be acquired for settlement. This would enhance the area of the mother country, while enabling the settlers on new land to retain an intimate link with the place of their origin. It would also enhance the material resources and power of the German nation. Hitler intended to extend German boundaries by moving eastwards to concentrate all Germans geographically in one place. Poland became the laboratory for this experimentation. Establishment of racial state. Once in power, the Nazis quickly began to implement their dreams of creating an exclusive racial community of pure Germans by physically eliminating all those who were seen as undesirables in the extended empire. Nazis wanted only a society of pure and healthy Nordic Aryans. They alone were considered as desirables. Only they were seen as worthy of prospering and multiplying against all others who were classed as undesirables. Even those Germans who were considered impures had no right to exist. Certain communities were being categorized as undesirables, like Jews, Gypsies, and blacks living in Germany. From 1933 to 38, the Nazis they terrorized, pauperized, and segregated Jews and compelled them to leave the country. This meant that even those Germans who were seen as impure or abnormal has no right to exist. So, following were the steps taken to form the community of desirables, that was, of pure Nordic Aryans. First, euthanasia program. Under euthanasia program, Helmut's father, along with other Nazi officials, had condemned to death many Germans who were considered mentally or physically unfit. Jews were not the only community classified as undesirables. There were others. Many gypsies and blacks living in Nazi Germany were considered as racial inferiors who threatened the biological purity of the superior Aryan race. They were widely persecuted. Even Russian and Poles, they were considered subhuman and hence undeserving of any humanity. When German occupied Poland and parts of Russia, captured civilians were forced to work as slave laborers. Many of them died simply through hard work and starvation. Jews remain the worst sufferers in Nazi Germany. Nazi hatred of Jews had a precursor. The traditional Christian hostility towards the Jews, they had been stereotyped as killers of Christ and usurers. Until medieval times, Jews were barred from owning land. They survived mainly through trade and money lending. They lived in separately marked areas called ghettos. They were often persecuted through periodic organized violence and expulsion from the land. However, Hitler's hatred of Jews was based on pseudoscientific theories of race, which held that conversion was no solution to the Jewish problem. It could be only solved through their total elimination. The next phase, that was from 1939 to 1945, aimed at concentrating them in certain areas and eventually killing them in gas chambers in Poland. The racial utopia. Under the shadow of war, the Nazis proceeded to realize their murderous racial ideal. Genocide and war became two sides of the same coin. Occupied Poland was divided up. Much of northwestern Poland was annexed to Germany. Poles were forced to leave their homes and properties behind to be occupied by ethnic Germans brought in from occupied Europe. Poles were then herded like cattle in the other parts called the general government, the destination of all undesirables of the empire. Members of the Polish intelligentsia were murdered in large numbers in order to keep the entire people intellectually and spiritually servile. Polish children who looked like Aryans were forcibly snatched from their mothers and examined by race experts. If they passed the race test, they were raised in German families, and if not, they were deposited in the orphanages where most perished. With some of the largest ghettos and the gas chambers, the general government also served as the killing fields for the Jews. Youth in Nazi Germany. Hitler was fanatically interested in the youth of the country. He felt that a strong Nazi society could be established only by teaching children Nazi ideology. This required a control over the child both inside and outside the school. What happened in schools under Nazism? All schools were cleansed and purified. This meant that the teachers who were Jews or seen as politically unreliable were dismissed. Children were first segregated. Germans and Jews could not sit together or play together. Subsequently, undesirable children, Jews, the physically handicapped, gypsies were thrown out of the school, and finally, in the 1940s, they were taken to the gas chambers. Good German children were subjected to a process of Nazis schooling, a prolonged period of ideological training. School textbooks were rewritten. Racial science was introduced to justify Nazi ideas of race. Stereotypes about Jews were popularized. Even though maths classes, children were taught to be loyal and submissive, hate Jews, and worship Hitler. Even the function of sports was to nurture a spirit of violence and aggression among children. Hitler believed that boxing could make children iron hearted, strong, and masculine. Youth organization were made responsible for educating German youth in the spirit of National Socialism. 10-year-olds had to enter Jungwalk. At 14, all boys had to join the Nazi youth organization, Hitler Youth, where they learned to worship war, glorify aggression and violence, and condemn democracy and hate Jews, communists, gypsies, and all those categorized as undesirables. After a period of rigorous ideological and physical training, they joined the labor service, usually at the age of 18. Then they had to serve in the armed forces and enter one of the Nazi organization. The youth leg of the Nazis was founded in 1922. 4 years later, it was renamed Hitler Youth to unify the youth movement under Nazi control. All other youth organizations were systematically dissolved and financially banned. The Nazi cult of motherhood. Children in Nazi Germany were repeatedly told that women were radically different from men. The fight for equal rights for men and women that had become part of democratic struggle everywhere was wrong and it would destroy society. The boys, they were taught to be aggressive, masculine, and steel hearted, whereas girls were told that they had to become good mothers and rear pure blooded Nordic Aryan children. Girls had to maintain the purity of race and distance themselves from Jews, look after the home, and teach their children Nazi values. They had to be the bearers of the Aryan culture and race. In 1933, Hitler said, "In my state, the mother is the most important citizen." But in Nazi Germany, all the mothers they were not treated equally. Women who bore racially undesirable children were punished. All Aryan women who deviated from the prescribed code of conduct were publicly condemned and severely punished. Those who maintained contact with Jews, Poles, and Russians were paraded through the town with shaved head and blackened face and placards hanging around their necks announcing, "I have sullied the honor of the nation." Many received jail sentences and lost civic honor as well as their husbands and families for these criminal offenses. Whereas women producing radically desirable children were awarded, they were given favored treatment in the hospitals and were also entitled to concession in shops, on theatre tickets and railway fares. To encourage women to produce many children, honor crosses were awarded. A bronze cross was given for 4 children, silver for 6, and gold for 8 or more. This is how the mothers they were being discriminated in Nazi Germany. What do you think? Is it correct? Is it the art of propaganda? Nazis used languages and media with care. They never used the words kill or murder. Mass killing formed as special treatment and final solution for Jews. Evacuation, deporting people to gas chambers. Gas chambers were called as disinfection areas. Nazi ideas spread through visual images, films, radios, posters, etc. Socialists and liberals, they were represented as weak and degenerated. Propaganda films were made to create hatred for Jews. One such most infamous film was The Eternal Jews, wherein Orthodox Jews were stereotyped and marked. Jews were referred as vermin, rats, and pests. Their movement were compared to those of rodents. Nazism worked on the minds of people, shaped their emotion, and turned their hatred and anger as those marked as undesirables. The Nazis made equal efforts to appeal to all different sections of the population. They sought to win their support by suggesting that Nazis alone could solve all their problems. Ordinary people and the crime against humanity. What do you think? How did the common people they reacted to Nazism? Many saw the world through Nazi eyes and spoke their mind in Nazi language. They felt hatred and anger surge inside them when they saw someone who looked like a Jew. They marked the houses of Jews and reported suspicious neighbors. They genuinely believed Nazism would bring prosperity and improve general well being. But not every German was a Nazi. Many organized active resistance to Nazism, braving police repression and deaths. The large majority of Germans, however, were passive onlookers and apathetic witnesses. They were too scared to act, to differ, to protest. They preferred to look away. What Jews felt in Nazi Germany is a different story altogether. Cheryl Barrett secretly recorded people's dream in her diary and later published them in a highly disconcerting book called The Third Reich of Dreams. She described how Jews themselves began believing in the Nazi stereotypes about them. They dreamt of their hooked nose, black hairs and eyes, Jews' looks and body movements. The stereotypical image publicized in the Nazi press haunted the Jews. They troubled them even in their dream. Jews died many deaths even before they reached the gas chamber. Knowledge about the Holocaust. Information about Nazi practices had trickled out of Germany during the last years of the regime, but it was only after the war ended and Germany was defeated that the world came to realize the horrors what had happened while the Germans were preoccupied with their own plight. As a defeated nation emerging out of the rubble, the Jews wanted the world to remember the atrocities and sufferings they had endured during the Nazi killing operations, also called as the Holocaust. At its height, a ghetto inhabitant had said to another that he wanted to outlive the war just for half an hour. Presumably, he meant that he wanted to be able to tell the world about what had happened in Nazi Germany. This indomitable spirit to bear witness and to preserve the document can be seen in many ghetto and camp inhabitants who wrote diaries, kept notebooks, and created archives. On the other hand, when the war seemed lost, the Nazi leaders and their leadership distributed petrol to its functionaries to destroy all incriminating evidences available in office. Yet, the history and the memory of Holocaust live on in memoirs, fiction, documentaries, poetries, memorials, museums, and in many parts of the world today. These are a tribute to those who resisted it, an embarrassing reminder to those who collaborated, and a warning to those who watched it in silence. With this, we end our chapter Nazism and the Rise of Hitler.